Okay, welcome to episode 6 of our project with Ed Bolian of VINWiki. Stay tuned because next we're going to unveil his car and go over the details. All right, Ed, welcome to New Albany, Ohio.
Thanks for having me.
Home of ESOTERIC. We've been working on this for a couple of months. When we first talked about it, I know we talked in terms of 2 to 3 weeks. It ended up a little bit longer. The painting that needed to be done obviously takes extra time, and we ran into some things we weren't expecting to run into.
I told you it was dirty.
Yeah, it was dirty. We were working on it for a couple of months, just doing nothing but cleaning. We didn't do anything else to it. It was just cleaning. That's one of the mistakes that a lot of people make. They think you're doing a heavy detail like this. It's just cleaning the car, but we're going to much greater lengths than that. We've been teasing you for a while now with photos and videos. I'm hitting you up all the time. What's it like being here finally in front of it? You can't see it yet,
right?
But kind of what's your expectations like on this one?
When one of the first dealership unveilings I ever went to at Ferrari of Atlanta, or near where I live, was for the Scuderia, and they had one in Russo F1, and we did something very similar, pull a red sheet off of it, and just seeing the car in person for the first time was amazing. And to be honest, when I bought it, it wasn't exactly that way, because I got it PPI'd and went up to buy it, and I show up and I'm like, PPI idiots didn't even tell me it was an all-over repaint, and it was like, I mean, I knew it was the cheapest Scud in the world. I didn't expect it to be the roughest, and maybe it wasn't, but it definitely needed some work. So I am very, very excited to get this thing off.
Yeah, good. Well, just a real quick kind of go over what we have done. This obviously needed some repainting. We've gone over all the details of that in the video. Once we got it back from painting, we had a lot of paint correction to do to further refine the work that was done in the painting. And this car's got a tremendous amount of carbon fiber. Polished all of the carbon fiber on it. Interior work, literally tore the interior out. Repaired leather, worked on carbon fiber, did some other things inside there. Engine compartment completely cleaned up. I mean, on and on and on. We went through a lot of details on that. So now that you kind of know, those of you that have been watching, you've seen the different videos. This is the final series where you get to see for the first time the car completely finished. So having said that, what do you say we bring over the guys, we get the cover here, unveil it so you can finally see it in person.
I cannot wait.
Right.
Let's do it.
Come on, guys. Let's grab a corner here.
Oh. Holy cow.
Well, here is your new 430 Scuderia. Just a little bit different, thank you guys, a little bit different than the last time you saw it, wouldn't you say?
A bit. If I didn't know it was the only one spec'd like this on Earth, I would say that you found a new one for me, because goodness gracious, look at that.
Yeah, I mean the amount of effort that went into polishing, refining the paint. You saw the differences that we measured with our meter, upwards of almost 200% increase compared to what it came from the painter. Now, comparing this to what it was before was probably even greater jump from there. I mean, it just looks tremendous. But I'll let you give your words on what you think of it.
Oh my goodness, it's spectacular. Because I bought it and immediately took it on a 6,000-mile round trip rally, and goodness, it just looks perfect. Like I said, this is kind of what you think is going to happen when you go and buy a Ferrari. Yeah. And frequently, as they age, and this one already had the 29,000 miles when I bought it, and it was certainly not that. It needed some work, but wow, you have outdone yourself, good sir.
Thank you. It's a complete team effort that went into this. A lot of work by a lot of people, which is why it took so long to get it to this stage right here. But just to kind of go over some of these details, I mean, all of the polishing that we did on it, that's what helps bring out this much clarity, this much gloss factor in it. That's why it looks like this car is plugged in right now and glowing.
I mean, the reflections are unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, so smooth.
Yeah, big difference. The other one before, we had about 5 different shades
Yes,
of Grigio Silverstone going with it.
Well, one of them was probably Grigio Silverstone.
Yeah, and the others were just kind of loose examples of it. So the outside looks a lot better, and what I want to do is I want to pop the rear deck here to be able to look inside. But even before we do that,
Yeah, that's
remember
not the same engine bay.
we looked inside of this when we were at your house down in Atlanta, and even one of the little details we talked about, you know, how dirty this gets inside here. And we removed those, we polished these pieces, cleaned everything up, coated them, put it all back together. So right there alone makes a big difference in looking inside. And even without this done, I mean, just looking at the carbon fiber in there, before it was kind of lifeless, and now it just screams. That's what this engine bay was designed to do, is draw attention to itself with all of the beautiful carbon fiber that's in there. Let me pop this lid here.
Falls off. I didn't know you could get carbon fiber to the point where you could shave in it.
Yeah.
I think you've done that. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so a tremendous amount of disassembly back here.
I did see that.
Yeah, to get all the parts off. And not only did we do that so we can polish all the carbon fiber, but if you look down into the motor, everything has been cleaned in here. It had a lot of miles worth of dirt and filth in there. Clean it up, clean all the hoses, clean all the lines, clean everything back behind it, polish the muffler. All of the carbon fiber in here got completely polished up just to be able to make a great presentation. You know, this is something now that you're going to want to pull up an event, you're going to open it up so people can really get an appreciation for it.
I don't exactly keep my ways set to like avoid unpaved roads. And I think you probably noticed that. It was filled with some dirt and things. Goodness gracious.
Yeah, big difference in here.
I don't think I've ever cleaned a motor in my life, but I didn't even know it was a thing.
That's what's fun doing, like the 430s and the 360s with the engine so exposed, to be able to go in here, really bring new life to it, and quite frankly, bring it to a level that's better than what it was brand new. I mean, this carbon fiber never looked like this when it came out of the factory. The only way that you can tell it's got mileage is, you know, some of the pieces start to get the discoloration from heat and stuff over time. You can't polish that off, but at least you can bring a lot of clarity to it. You know, even the plenums up there, those were polished. Everything was gone through here with a fine-tooth comb to get it looking the way it is now. And then back here, you know, you had talked in our discussion down in Atlanta about the carbon fiber in the back.
Yes.
How it didn't really have much contrast back there. It was kind of lifeless. Well, we went in, actually removed this grill here.
Okay.
So we have full access. We can go polish up all the carbon fiber. The taillights were removed.
I saw that.
Completely polished the taillights, and we've got some great photos before and after on those just to show how much difference. And in the end, what that provides, it provides a lot of contrast points, so everything really jumps out. It stands on its own, and you get appreciation for all the little details in the back end of the car. And some people may think, wow, polishing out taillights, maybe that's going a little bit too far. But when you see it back in here and you see how much contrast you get between the Grigio Silverstone and the taillights themselves, it just really jumps out.
That's incredible. Yes, it does. And you're right. Yeah, before you had to really look to notice that it had the rear challenge grille. Obviously, it was standard on Scuderias, but it was not nearly as apparent on this car. But wow.
Well, now that we've looked at that, let's take a peek. Before we take a look at the inside,
yes.
You remember the interior that
it's a little tired.
It was tired. The carbon fiber was beat up. The leather was a bit beat up. I think I told you we discovered that 2 times prior to that there had been somebody in there doing some re-dyeing on some of the leather. The seats came out. I even found on the carbon fiber in the back of the seats, I found red overspray from where the seats had been re-dyed. We do things, we do things a little differently. All that came out, everything was redone. All of the beautiful red leather in here was cleaned up. It was conditioned. It looks much better now. I think I even sent you like a 50-50 shot of the seat where one part of it was clean and the other wasn't. And one of the things I was wondering on that, well, that was the passenger seat. How does the passenger seat get that dirty over the years? Was that
I
you?
can't speak to that. Yeah,
No?
I don't spend a lot of time in that one.
Yeah.
The passenger seats.
Okay, well, let's open this up and take a peek at the differences that you see on the interior here. So the door sills down there, all of that was removed, all of that was polished up. You still have some heavier gouges that you're going to get and you can't fix, but we were able to bring that to a much higher level than what the factory was. The door panels, those were removed. You'll notice they have a glow to them now that they didn't before. You can make a huge difference on that. Your leather looks really good. It feels good. The seat backs are completely polished up.
It looks brand new.
Even this carbon fiber up here was polished. This down here, this was all tired looking, and taking that out, disassembling it, getting it completely polished.
There was a lot of humanity left on this interior when I gave it to you.
Yeah.
I'd say, like you could really feel that many people had enjoyed this car before me, which is not uncommon of my cars, but it looks brand new.
For me, interior makes such a big difference because you can be driving around in a dirty car on the outside, but when you get in the inside and it has a clean, new feeling, it just makes you feel good about driving that car. And that's what it has now, and with the leather completely cleaned up, even all this stuff back here completely scrubbed and cleaned, it just has a nice look about it. Remember your dash up here that was pulling away, and you wanted to come up with a way to at least hide it a little bit.
I think that sells. Look at that.
That's Alcantara.
Alcantara.
So it kind of matches some of the other little trim pieces in here. Having that, somebody really has to know that there's something different about it, and the kind of expense you have to go through to pull the dash to have that redone. That's an acceptable fix. Additionally, down here is your buttons. Remember, these buttons down here were all sticky and gummy. Likewise, this whole surround, I mean, you can put your finger in it and leave a thumbprint. This was removed. All that stuff was refinished. It has a new look to it.
One of the previous owners of this car had repeatedly forgotten where the ignition hole was and just really felt around for it. And I see that you've cured that.
Yep.
The stripe looks infinitely better.
We talked about it in our repainting video, and with the kind of budget that we were playing with, our painter just, he did some magical stuff for the prices that we gave him. You look close and you're not going to mistake it for a factory paint job, but at the same time, looking at the finish that we got everywhere else, it's so much better than what you get on a factory level.
Oh, sure. Yes. This is well beyond an Ed Bolian level, I can assure you of that. Goodness gracious. I saw you had it quite apart.
Yes.
I had many a friend see that photo and say, what on earth are you doing? Because most people who drive cars the way that I do don't really think of cleaning them to this extent, because the plan is just to go and get them dirty again. So I'm excited to see, because I certainly do intend to go and get it dirty again, but it seems as though it will be easier to clean once I do.
Yeah, well that's a big part of what we're doing here. We're going to go in and take a car like this or take a daily driver car. We're going to refine it, then we're going to protect it accordingly, all in the hopes of you can go out, drive it, enjoy it. It's going to clean up much easier. A lot of people make the mistake thinking that you have either a highly detailed car or a car that you drive, and you can have both. Right. So we'll also get you going in the right direction with the right stuff to use on the car, make life a little bit easier for you. But I think the first time that you go to wash this or you hit this with water, you're going to be amazed. I mean, stuff just doesn't want to stick to it. So
my normal pressure wash and drive as fast as you can to dry it off strategy might actually work?
It might actually work. I'm going to try to talk you into a little bit different strategy with that, but
I have room for improvement.
Okay.
I believe it. I'm a blank canvas of bad habits.
Well, good deal. We'll be glad to try to fix that a bit for you. So this is the finished product of many weeks of a lot of labor, a lot of people involved, a lot of sweat equity, so to speak, in getting it to look like this. And we're definitely glad we've had the opportunity to work with you on it. So the next thing that we're going to do is, let's see here, it is about 3:15, 6 o'clock tonight. We have got a bunch of people coming out to meet Ed, see the car. People have been following along in the project, and we're going to take this video from here. We're going to show you some of the crowds. We're going to have a little interview session with Ed, some Q&A that we are going to add on to this video as well. A little bit longer than what we normally do, but we really wanted to get Ed's initial reactions. And just to verify for the camera, was this the first time that you saw it?
It is, yes.
Okay, we didn't play any games.
There was no
here.
sandbagging here.
Yeah.
This is the first time. And I have to say, I mean, you know, I expected we'd get a little more reflectivity, but I mean, this is a different car than I gave you. I mean, it doesn't feel the same, doesn't look the same. I'm sure it still sounds the same as long as you got everything screwed back in, all right? But it looks ready for another 50,000 miles.
Well, I'm sure that you would have no problem
putting
it on, knowing how you drive them. Now that we've seen Ed's reactions, let's take you next to our event. Everybody comes out to see Ed and see the car. So we'll come back to you here in just a little bit.
Cue the dancing. My general car buying strategy is find cars that would usually have an obstacle to somebody that is much more rational thinking to buy. To be quite honest, my assumption with guys like yourself would be that there are cars that are just too far gone. When our conversations began, that was certainly my demeanor. And the idea that could become this was so far outside of my imagination that I would never even thought to ask.
Hopefully you enjoyed this, the final video in the series. As you just saw from the footage, we just got done with the big event here, which is why we're sitting in chairs, because we are absolutely exhausted from the whole deal. Ed got to meet half the people in the city of Columbus here and our customer base as well. So we had a great time, Ed. Thank you for coming out. Thank you for the project. Hopefully you enjoy your new car and have enjoyed the experience.
Oh, how could I not? I mean, thank you so much. Thank you everybody here at Esoteric. I mean, this has been an unbelievable night, to a perfect end to an unbelievable project. I never imagined she'd look this good, and I can't wait to go get her dirty again.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, so much. And for you out there, we're going to link you to the playlist for the entire video series. And we're also going to link you over to one of the stories that I did down at Ed's place in Atlanta. Thank you for following along, and thank you for watching the Esoteric channel.
Good night.